Hello and welcome back to Craftomation 101. We first took a look at this game about 6 months ago when it was first released as a, I don't know if it was a demo or an early access, but they've added a lot of stuff over the last 6 months, changed a few things and added a lot. And so I thought for that reason it was time to take a look at the game again. And actually I was taking a look at the game again a week or two ago when it was brought back to my attention a little bit. And then they've announced that there's a playtest that's going to be available, an open playtest, September 11th through the 18th. This video is coming out on the 9th, so in a couple of days you should be able to see for yourself, to try it for yourself on Steam. Craftomation 101 is about automation and terraforming and robots. We will first learn how to automate some things by manually doing them, so learn the recipes and things like that. And then we will get some robots to actually automate those tasks. And then we can learn to make our own robots to continue doing the automation tasks while we explore and uncover a frozen over surface of a world. There's been a lot of changes to the world generation to make it a little bit more purposeful, so that you get you kind of get some tasks to do at certain stages of the process of the game, and hopefully that guides us toward the ability to terraform that world. So our job will be eventually to terraform the whole planet. For now, we're going to just terraform parts of it, and we're going to take a look at some of the new features, some of the changes, and just some of the general features of the game, if you did not see my previous series on the game. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into the game and see what's going on, see what's new. You can always go and read their developer diaries. They publish these in Steam, I believe, as well as on their own Substack. So if you want to see kind of what's going on there and what the progress of the game development is, they do publish those, so you can definitely take a look at those and kind of follow the game as well. And also you can join their Discord server to get updates and things. So let's just go ahead and do a new game. Now, of course, I have an existing game. Like I said, I was in there a couple of weeks ago taking a look at what was changed and what was new. And for now, during this stage, I'm assuming it would be changed for the release, you can only have one current save game. So we obviously need to overwrite that in order to start a new game. And so we settle on the planet. We settle a rocket on the planet. The rocket is still pretty frozen over from its landing, so we can't really do anything with the rocket yet. But one thing we can learn how to do is how to melt the rocket. So we do that first by mining 2 stone. To mine 2 stone, you just click twice, basically, on the stone, and it drops the stones out, and then that creates a new object. And so this is kind of like those alchemy-style games, or I don't know why it's actually stuck there now, though. Interesting. These alchemy-style games where you kind of take 2 things and put them together, and then it creates a third object, or a new object. And as you continue advancing through the progress, you'll combine more and more things together to create more and more objects. And there's actually a screen for that in the game. This wasn't in there very originally, and then they added it along the way. But you have basic objects up here, these kind of like your raw ingredients here, and then they kind of go through different tiers of advancement to uncover different things. There's some exceptions to that on how they're laid out, but I think it's fairly logical from kind of simple to more complex, at least in general. So we've learned about the spark. If you ever want to know how to make something that you made before and you've forgotten how to make it, the tooltip here will tell you how to make it. So for a spark, we combine 2 stones together, which makes some sense because when you make a spark for a fire, you do bang 2 rocks, for lack of a better word, together. You can, to make a spark. So we have a spark, and then we need to mine a coal. That's here. And that gives us a piece of coal here, which we learn the new object coal here, and then the game wants us to combine that coal with a spark to make fire. So now they have fire, we can use that fire to melt the rocket, at least partially melt the rocket. And so we melted the top, which lets us get some of the items out of the rocket, including this bonfire. And the bonfire is a craftable item as well, but they're giving us one for free because we don't yet know how to make bricks. We'll learn, but we don't yet know. So we want to place this over here next to these frozen tiles, these snow-covered tiles, to unfreeze them. But we can't just unfreeze them by placing the bonfire. The bonfire actually needs fire as well. And we need that to unfreeze this the soil source up here so that we can then have some soil. So let's do this. I want to see if I can combine that there, if it's going to be goofy. It is going to be goofy. And now I've totally stuck it. All right, fine. We'll do that. And then we can drop the fire into the bonfire spot. And that becomes a fire that's actually melting some of the snow around it. And we get some new objects out of the rocket, including a body and a head. These are robot bodies and robot heads. And so we can continue to make fire and continue to put it in this bonfire to keep this bonfire alive so that we can have access to use this land. The rocket obviously melted a little bit of land around it, but we need to expand to cover more and more of the world, and we do that by putting out these bonfires, and then later some other fires. So the game now wants us to assemble the head and the body into a Craftomate, which is our robots, and this is where we get automation. You can, what do we do? Oh, create, yes. To combine a piece of coal with a stone to create a coal brick. And the coal brick is used to feed the power, the Craftomate. And so now we can learn how to create our first program. If you already know how, you can skip it, but for the purposes of this video, I think we should follow the tutorial. And so here is a toolbar for the Craftomate. You can clear the program, copy the program to another Craftomate, reset the program, execute the program, and then show and hide the editor. And it's kind of a little bit of a graphical drag and drop style programming. It reminds me a little bit of the programming interface used for things like Lego Mindstorms, maybe like Arduinos and those type of things have the similar type of thing. So it's very drag and drop and graphical, so it should be fairly entry level for most users. Also, I just noticed the music got louder. Or maybe it was loud all along and I just noticed it. So let's exit to menu real quick and turn. And it just went dead silent. Let's go down a bit more. Let's see if that's better. Either way, I felt like it was getting louder and louder, but maybe it's just me. So we're going to create our first program. So let's go in here. And we start out with an idle state. So this is where the robots program starts from. And you go through a set of program, and then you end with a to idle to tell it to return back to the beginning and do the program over again. So the game wants us to follow the on-screen highlights to create our first program, and that is to use the find and pick operation, I guess. And what that does is tells Craftomate to find the nearest element of a specified type and pick it up. So you simply just drag and drop that onto the programming panel here. You can also click, which we'll do with the next one just to show you the difference of that. And then click here to tell it what type of item to find and pick. In this case, we wanted to find and pick a piece of stone. And then we wanted to find and pick again. And we'll just click to show. When you do the click to show, it kind of does like a zigzaggy, with this close connectors. If you don't like that, then you can click and drag. It doesn't really matter. We want to pick another stone. And so you can see that this is something that we just did manually. We picked up two stones and then we combined them, and that made a spark. And then we want to find and pick something else. That something else is a piece of coal. And then we want to combine those. Now what we're combining is not the stones, but the spark that came from the stones. And then with the coal to make the fire, and then we want to drop that fire into the bonfire. And it gives us a coordinate system here, but if you mouse over it, it's showing it differently right now. But if I do this, you can see the mouse over highlighted that. And if I had two of these drop twos, it would change the cursor there. So you can see the cursor kind of over top of the thing we're talking about. So now this Craftomate is done. It has made a fire. It has made a spark, made a fire, and put that fire in the bonfire. So go to idle, which tells it to go back to the beginning again, and do it all over again. And so this Craftomate will repeatedly do this task until, I don't know, forever. So we just got to tell it to execute, and then we can hide the editor. Yeah, you got goofed up though because of my junk laying around. We'll just do reset. That means you'll throw it on the ground and then start again. Yeah, I thought so. So you're going to be confused now again. Let's reset again. We're cleaning up my mess, which is fine. Execute. There we go. That stuff was laying on top of that, so the robot thought it was there. That is, I think, a bug, but I think we will also, you know, figure it out over time. So I have some more food I can feed you if we want to. So we just reactivated this bonfire, which re-thawed this area over here, including this soil. And so the next task is to create a brick. Well, a clay brick is soil plus rock to make one. So let's pull a soil here. And that gives us that. And then we'll pull a stone here. And that gives us a clay brick. And now we can craft a new bonfire by using a coal with that brick to make a new bonfire. And the game wants us to place that bonfire over here. Now, one thing is you cannot move a bonfire when it's lit. All you can do is pull the fire out of it. And we can do that sneakily to steal the fires from this one to keep this one going as well. So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind as well. I'm going to go ahead and make another one real quick with that other garbage I got laying around. And let's also feed you while we're at it. And you can see, chomp, chomp, chomp. It ate the charcoal brick, and its power meter got a little bit higher. So the rocket just thawed out the rest of the way and turned itself into the command center. And that kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, I don't know, Command and Conquer back in the day where, you know, you'd have the mobile command center vehicle that you then expanded out into an actual, like, building. It kind of gives me that feeling. So what the command center wants now is stone, and specifically they want 15 stone. So we could do this one of two ways. We could do it ourselves, which means, you know, mining a stone and dropping it right here, and it counts it, and we can do that 15 times. Or we could grab this other new Craftomate that we just got and tell it to go find and pick a stone, and then drop it to. Actually, this won't work, but I'm going to do it anyway, just to show you why. Drop it to there, and then go to idle. And let's go. Execute. So you will go get a stone, and you'll drop it there. But you snag that stone before the command center can get it, and you are counting it every time. We can see that by watching the program execute and watching the little Craftomate pick it up and drop it again before the arm can get it from the thing. So that doesn't work. So let's pause the program. Reset the program, actually, so you drop the stone. Let's, instead of doing find and pick then, let's drag this over to the trash. And let's do pick from. Drop that in here, and we have to fix the code strings here, which you just do by dragging and dropping them. We want to pick from this spot specifically. And so what that'll do is that'll pick whatever's in this spot. In this case, it's going to be stone for another 2,978 pieces, which we won't need that for that long. But pick from this spot specifically, instead of finding and picking up a random stone. And then, oh, that one's dead. And then putting it in here as we were trying to do before. And that should work much, much better. There and there, you're dead. There and there, you're dead. Okay, you might need a little bit of chomp too. Oh, there you go. Another piece of fuel for you there. Charcoal briquette. So now this is working much better. They're going to grabbing the stone, they're dropping it off there, and it's getting pulled into the command center automatically. And, you know, that one's a pretty easy one that we could have done manually, but I think it's important in automation games to do the automation whenever you can, so that you can start to think in an automated manner. You know, it's like in Factorio, you can handcraft a bunch of stuff, or you can set up an assembler to do it for you. And then that way, if you feed that assembler the stuff that it needs, it'll make the things it needs automatically for you, or things you need automatically for you while you're off doing something else. So that's kind of the difference in the point of that is to do the automation sooner rather than later. Okay, so we're just about there on the automation. I could help speed it up by doing some of them for it, but and it got confused. You saw that red box there for a second. It just so happened that Oppo happened to be in that box as Ara was trying to put it there, and it couldn't because that tile was already occupied, and so it just had to wait. There is the ability to do like what happens if you have an error. Since there's no error path here, and actually we're stuck again. If there's no error path here, then it will just stay here until it can resolve the error itself or resolve the problem itself. And we actually don't want error to keep doing this because we don't need stone here anymore. So let's do a reset. It'll drop the stone. That's fine. And then now the command center wants more. The command center wants sparks, but the command center also gave us a Craftomate, and the command center gave us a little green one of these things, whatever these things are called. I don't know. They're like upgrade coins, I guess, or something. And the upgrade coins, and it was there. I didn't point it out, but it was there on this side next to the Craftomate that was there, or below there. I think the Craftomate that was there. You're dead again. Okay. So as you earn these upgrade coins by doing tasks for the command center, you can then unlock things in this upgrades tree, which has grown since the last series that I did. But right now, because it starts out here, the only thing we can do is eat, or learn is eat. So we want to buy that for 1 coin. This tells Craftomate to consume an object it's holding for recharging. Although Craftomates can digest almost everything, only certain elements are truly nutritious to them. Coal bricks are fine on the early stages of the game, while batteries, though harder to craft, guarantee full recharge. So we want to buy this ability. And the great thing about this is we can automate the crafting of those bricks, and then we can also automate them going to eat them, and we'll get into that soon enough. But I want to make sure they eat before we do too much of this. Eat, eat, eat. Make sure you didn't steal my brick, my coal. So we'll feed these guys a little bit to get them up to about halfway or so. I think that'll be fine for now. So the command center wants sparks next. Well, we have almost that program, but we need to make a little bit of difference to it, changes to it. We still want to go to idle at the end. We still want to drop it to the same spot, but we don't want to pick stone to drop there anymore. We want to make sparks. And so we can go back to find and pick now, though, because we aren't finding and picking up the same thing that we're delivering. So we want to find and pick a stone, and then we want to find and pick another stone. You can go over here. It gets a little confused when you have other things on the field. And then we want to combine those two to make a spark, and then drop that there, and that should do it. So run that program. And then we have this guy down here who is doesn't have a job right now. We could give them a job of keeping this fire burning. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Actually, I probably want to redo these fires a little bit. The bonfires can heat up a range of 2 tiles out from themselves in all directions. The command center has a little bit larger of a range, and it's more diamond shaped. But one of the features of the bonfires and other buildings like them is that they actually have a yellow zone where... Oh, you finished that already. Good. Then you can stop. Plus, they actually have a yellow zone where they, if 2 of them are somewhat close to each other, they will actually heat up a little bit more because they're kind of overlapping a little bit, and so bonfires have such a zone. And although we won't see it right now, we'll be able to see eventually how we can take advantage of that. But just know that exists. And I'm stealing all these, and actually what I should do for you is change your drop to be over here instead for right now. And I think actually we should do one other thing. We should take your program, which we can do from here to copy it. We should apply it onto this Craftomate. And the reason I want to do that is I want to have you also stoking a fire after we clean this one out. I want to move this fire slightly. And then we have another Craftomate here. You don't have a job right now. We're going to give you a job in a little bit, making those. We have to do a little bit of work first, but as soon as this is done, and then you're... Oh, yeah, I can do that part yet. As soon as this is done burning, we can move this bonfire slightly. And that slightly is actually just up by 1 tile. Right here. And the reason I'm doing this is to make it center aligned with the... oh, yes, actually, you can see... Okay. I'm making it center aligned with the command center. And the reason I'm doing that is so we can have a grid. But also, you can see that yellow zone here. I forgot you could see this. There is... Actually, we can go out a little bit further. There is the solid stripe zone and then the dashed stripe zone. Yeah, we're stuck here. Ooh, that's not even better. It's fine. The solid stripe zone is the zone that this building will heat all by itself. The striped zone is the zone where this building will only heat it if it's overlapped with another striped zone to make one solid zone, basically. So we could overlap this bonfire here, as you can see, the striped zone is still snowy, with another bonfire here, yeah, right there, and it would actually keep that line in between warm. So that's another strategy you can use to establish a bonfire grid. But for now, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. So you now have a job, or you almost have a job. We need to drop that to here, and then you can go. And you need fuel. You need a lot of fuel. You need some fuel too. I'll feed all of you guys. So the next task is to unthaw this iron. So we need another bonfire. Let's make one. You make a brick, you make a fire, and we're just going to drop it down here for now, I think. And then we'll expand our grid out as we have time and availability. So we have a bunch of extra fires over here. We can just do this. There. And now we've unthawed the iron. And we've also freed another Craftomate here. So we can mine... It wants me to mine 2 iron. So we got 1 and 2 just to do that. And then craft steel. Steel is iron plus fire. Well, we already have somebody making sparks here. We should probably just drop that. Reset. And let's. So we already have them making spark. Let's add in a find and pick to find and pick coal. Nope, not coal briquettes, just coal. And then let's do another combine that makes fire. And then find and pick again iron. And combine that. And then drop that into the spot. And we'll have to do that 5 times. So these programs are getting longer, but they're going to do that. I mean, they're going to keep getting longer as we continue advancing throughout. We have a spark here that I need to turn into a fire. That's fine, I can do that. And you notice they grab the iron that I had mined and put down on the floor, which is fine. That's a good thing to do. We'll keep doing that, in fact. And this 5 will give us 2 boxes and 1 more of those green upgrade chips things. We're going to need to keep feeding everybody, though, so let's do that. You need food. Oh, crap. Now that's screwed up again. I did it again. There is a bug there somehow of that. Yeah, and you are stuck now. Doggone it. Okay, come on. Other person get out of the way. And then this reset program, please. Go. You eat. Eat again. We're going to fix this in a moment, but I want to wait until we get that next task done, and then we'll automate food production and eating even. You next. We'll just get them charged up a bit here. There you go. 4. And one should be 5. And I don't want you to do any more for now. Pause for a minute. So now we have 2 of these, which are boxes. These are storage boxes, so we can use them, well, for storage. This is like their packed state or whatever, and this is their unpacked state where you can actually use them. So they take 2 things we don't know yet to make, so we obviously can't make them ourselves. We get 2 for free, which is really nice. And so what I want to do with one of these folks is have them find and pick a stone, and then find and pick coal, and then combine, and then drop it to one of these storages, and then go to idle. And this will be our starting piece. We're going to add to this, but to get it started. And so what that bot is going to do now is make fuel for all the rest of the bots, and deliver it here into the storage, which is a place where we can stack them up to, I don't know, it might be infinite, or maybe just some huge number. I'm not sure what the limit is on these boxes. We will have to see, because I honestly don't know. But we can take it then from the box and feed it to the craftmate that need it the most, whoever that might be, as it's being made. And it's going to take a little bit for this one bot to get kind of enough of a backlog made to where everybody is happy. And I think I hit the wrong one there, but that's okay. And then we want to automate their ability to eat as well. And so we want to do that very soon. Oh, I hit the right one. Good. There we go. But I want to go into here and see if we... Actually, I don't know if we have the thing that I want yet or not. We look at this. Yeah, we don't have the thing I want yet anyway. So we don't know when they want to eat yet. We don't know when they're hungry enough yet. There's some stuff we're going to learn in a little while, so we're going to wait until we have that stuff before I advance the program any further. So next we need to make these, which are steel plates. And they are 2 pieces of steel combined together. We need to keep this fire going, though. Keep the fire going, Molly. We can automate this as well. As you can see, 1 Craftomate produces way more fire than we need to keep 1 bonfire going. So one thing we could do is take that Craftomate who's filling this fire and edit their program so that we have another segment, say, to the program of find and pick another stone. And this will be kind of a temporary bit as well. And find and pick another stone, combine them. And notice that the Craftomate is continuing on this program and not coming down here yet. That's what I want so far. We'll manipulate that a little bit later. But in this case, it's the same program so far, but in this case, I want to actually have it drop to this bonfire instead of the one that's dropping to originally up here. And then we want to take from here and loop it down to this one, and then go to idle from this one, so that this one Craftomate is keeping 2 fires going. And I think 1 Craftomate can probably keep 2 to 3 going long term. It kind of depends on how much they're walking. Nope. There we go. But 2 to 3. Definitely 2. 2's easy. 3, maybe a 4th. Not sure. So how do we do the steel plate? Well, that's 2 steel. We already have a Craftomate making steel. And they're dropping in here. We don't want them to drop it here. We want them to make another steel. Instead, we want them to drop it someplace else that's maybe temporary, maybe not temporary. We could have them drop it to this box here, for example. And that could be our steel box. And then we want them to make a whole nother steel. Here, and then here. Same thing we just did with the fire maintainer. We want to do with the steel maker. Just obviously doing the one additional find it and then combine step here to find the iron and combine that to make the steel. And then one additional step. We need this is the second time through. We need you to find and pick a steel, because you need 2 steel, and then combine those. And maybe we should do a 3rd line here. That might be a good idea. do a third line down here, and you can zoom out to get more room. And this is a code to center, so if you want to find where the code is, if you got yourself lost, you can do that. So we make a steel, and we drop it into this box. And then we make another steel. And then we don't do anything with it. We go and pick up the one we dropped back here. Let's do this, actually. We can do that. And then combine them again. And then we want to drop that, which is now a steel plate, to this spot to be delivered. And then we can go to idle. And I hope that makes sense. But basically, we're making 2 steel. We have to put one down to make the second one. And then we combine, pick up the one we put down and combine them together, and then drop that plate in the spot where it's got to go. So, run your program. And you're out of fuel. There you go. 2 fuel for you. 1, 2 fuel for you. 1 for you. 1 for you. 1 more for you if you don't run away. Another one for you. Another one for you. At least you're in the yellow now. Everybody's in the yellow. Yellow is good. And you can see there's still 4 left. So we're still doing pretty good. But it does take, I don't know how much fuel they actually provide. I don't know if there's any data on it, but we have, they're going to need to eat a few charcoal briquettes every time they need to, in order to get full, at least, or at least get to green. So you saw there was a steel in this box temporarily, and Ara the Wise came and picked that one up after they made the second steel, and combined them to make the steel plate for the command center. So then we can watch them do this. You can see there it goes. Now, one thing we could do is we could combine. We could do 2 of these, and that would double the speed, of course. We have an extra Craftomate, so we could do that. That might not be a bad idea, actually. So we could do that, and you can see the little spark too, the little program copied over. That would give us a little bit faster here. You could also have one that was doing the initial steel making and dropping it in the box. You could have another one that was doing steel making and looking for that one that should be in the box, doing the final combination, and then putting the plate on the spot to be picked up by the command center. You could do it both ways, and both ways I think are valid. This just says, hey, each person do their own thing, and the other way says, okay, you're doing part of it, you're doing the other part of it, and your pieces combined will give us what we want in the end. So it's really up to you how you want to do that, but there's a couple different ways to do it. There's always a couple different ways to do just about anything in a game. And then one of them is stuck because the other one fed it first, but that's fine. It'll separate them a little bit this way. One for somebody over there. You could use one. You could use one. You could use maybe another one. You could definitely use one. You could use one there. You here. You there. Anybody else in the red? You're a little orange there. We'll take care of that. Now you're a little orange too. There you go. So we're up to 4 already. We should get a couple more here pretty soon. And now they're at different stages too in their process, so they won't try to hit the spot at the same time, I don't think. Again, we'll see. Yeah, so you got confused, or had to wait because the Goofy was in the way. That's okay. That's 6. And I can actually stop one of these 2 from making again, but we'll be fine. We'll have an extra. We can always use an extra. And another way to do it would be to have, 1 or more just making steel plate, or steel bars, putting them in the box. And then have one bot making steel plate and delivering them or putting them in another box, for example. So you could do this, quite differently, however you want to do. Wow, we have 50-something fires in this bonfire. That's crazy. Okay, you're done now. Come here. Pause. So we got 2 more Craftomates here. And you're done as well. Pause. Pause. Thank you. These 2 have programs, these 2 do not. We have an extra steel plate, so we could deal with that. We also, though, got at least 1 more of these upgrade chips. So let's click on that. And actually we have 2 upgrade chips. So what do we want to do next? Well, we have a couple of things. We have energy, which gives the bot the ability to check to see what its charge level is. If it's above 7%, the program will go through the upper output, and if it's less, through the lower one. That's a really good one. That's actually the one that I want to buy first. And then we also have direction. I never really understood what the advantage of this one is, but this gives you the ability to have a directional pick. So it tells the crafting to pick an object from the selected side. The program will return an error if the respective hand is already holding an object. And I don't really understand why you might want to do that, but I guess maybe you could find a way to do something with that. Direction drop tells Craftomate to drop an object to the selected side. And then swap tells Craftomate to swap the objects they're holding. I don't really have a good use case for these, but maybe we want to unlock it so that we can get down here to basic interaction, where it allows Craftomates to pause themselves or other Craftomates, along with an ability to feed other Craftomates and wait. So you could have a feeder bot that just went around and fed them with this. But I think I want to maybe move into functions, which functions are nodes that allow the creation of prefab program bits for any purpose. You can add as many inputs and outputs as you see fit to them. Afterwards, you'll be able to add functions in a program as a single node. A Craftomate will execute the code inside when it's called. You can also rename functions as you like. So a function is a subroutine, effectively. And that's the one that I want. Although we could also have a compare that allows you to compare an object with compare an object carried with an object on the map, depending on what it sees, and also variables, which we'll get into later. But let's unlock functions next, because I like functions. And everybody's dead, so let's feed a couple of these folks here before we move on too far. But they're going to actually get the ability to feed themselves soon, so that'll make it even better. Let's go here and follow down-screen highlights to create our first function. So functions are added as, I don't know why it's not, there it goes. Okay, functions are added as a second tab here. So we have main, which we gave all of our main abilities, and then we have functions. And we have up to 4 functions so far, kind of pre-seeded here. I think we can probably just click the add button to add more, but this is a custom function. You can write any code in it. We'll click on that, and that adds it to the Ugly's program here, and we want to edit that function. You can also edit it by clicking the edit button over here, of course. And so when we click to edit, it opened a second tab here next to the Ugly, and it has an input and an output slot, and that's kind of just your basic function. The input comes from here, and the output goes out here when the function is complete. So we need to build this function. The first function the game wants us to build is a find and pick, looking for stone. Can you guess what this is going to be? Find and pick, looking for stone. A combine, a find and pick, looking for coal, a combine, and then a link to the output. There we go. And so now the Ugly has the ability to make fire, and which is what that function should be named, and then to drop it to where that bonfire used to be right there, which we don't want it there anymore, but that's fine. And then go to idle. So we don't want the Ugly to have this function long term, but we can hit the play button so that we can start it, and then we can delete it because I don't want the Ugly to have this function. But the function's good. So let's rename this function, which you do by clicking up here, and then I think you have to like backspace. There's no cursor here, which is kind of a inconvenient, but backspace, and we'll call this function make fire. Seems logical to me. And then that makes this function name now make fire. So while we don't want the Ugly to do this, we do want everybody else almost to do this. So let's feed a few people here. You can get out of the way. And you're up here, dead to the world. Dead again. There we go. A couple of foods for you there. Couple of foods for you there. Couple of foods for you there. But we're not done with all of you yet. Because let's actually let's go into Oppo the Nervous and edit the function. Now, or edit their code. Now that we have a make fire, we can get rid of this to this right away. Because make fire does the making of the fire. So let's drag that function onto Oppo the Nervous's code here. And instead of following the makefire that we did manually, let's follow the makefire that we did as a subroutine. And I'm going to leave the rest of this here because it's still there in case we screwed something up. But you see that Oppo is making fire and has delivered it to the place that is specified in their code loop, which is perfect. So now we can delete this extra stuff. We don't need it. I just left it there to show you that it does indeed work. And we can actually click on edit and watch Oppo flow through this workflow, this program, and then jump back out to their master program. But we're not done with Oppo yet. After Oppo drops the fire to that fire pit, what do we want Oppo to do? Well, we want Oppo to check and see what their energy level is. And this says 10%. The other thing said 7%. It doesn't matter a whole lot, I suppose. But this is the new function we unlocked that allows the Craftomate to check what their energy level is. And just for argument's sake, I'll drag it onto here, even though we're going to actually put this into a function. So the program comes in here, and if their energy is okay, if it's above the percentage, then you come out here maybe to idle, so that you go back and start again. But if their energy is low, then you want them to eat. So we're going to do that as a function. So let's, oops, not that yet. Let's edit this function first. We're going to call this function check and eat. So the first ability in this function is to energy check. If energy is okay, then go out the output. We're done. If their energy is low, then I want them to eat something. And maybe I want them to eat just one charcoal brick. And then once they've eaten, oh wait, I can't do that, I'm sorry. Once they've eat means to eat whatever's in your hand. You don't have anything in your hand yet. You need to find and pick a charcoal briquette and then eat it. And then go to the output. And so now for Oppo, we can drag that function onto Oppo's programming field here and link after the drop to, and then Oppo will automatically check what their power level is, which is probably, it's a 22%, 21% right now. So we won't see this just yet, but we'll see it in a few moments. As long as I didn't accidentally I just fed Oppo, I think. No, I didn't. Okay, good. 17 and down. It's going to take him a minute to get down there. I was hoping we'd get there before then, but we didn't. But I also want to know how much energy a single charcoal briquette will give Oppo. 12. Oh, Oppo ate at 12. Or 11. And got up to 35. So maybe about 25% at most. So who knows when that actually is, the check is happening. But, so Oppo's eating now, but only one briquette, which means only going up to about 35%. Well, there's no reason why we can't edit that function to add more find and picks and eats in there. So let's do that again. And I'll actually leave that there for right now, just in case you do it. That and this. That'll add about 50%. But why stop there? Why not go with 3? Here. And combine. And then go out. And so then from this eat to that, it goes to that one. And then Oppo will eat 3 charcoal briquettes when low on energy. But since we have that into a function, we can give that to anybody to do. So that was Oppo. Let's actually pause for a moment. And let's go into Zox the Strong. Zox is making the briquettes, but Zox still needs to be able to eat the briquettes, so we just need to add in that function into their already existing code. Check and eat here. After they've done their daily task, whatever that task is, they need to see if they need to eat. And so we can do that with Zox the Strong. Just like that. And then also whoever else is here. Heh the Goofy actually has a little bit more work to do. Because Heh is dropping to 2 places. So let's clear all of this stuff out that we don't really need anymore. But we do need the drop to, and this one here too. But we do still need the drop to there as well. And instead, let's make fire. Connect that up. And then drop it to there. And then make fire again. And drop it to there. And then check and eat, just like everybody else is going to do. And then go to idle. Now, Heth the Goofy is currently on this step. Currently taking the fire they've made to drop it onto this fire. This bonfire, I think. Yeah, that bonfire. We could reset the task, but I don't think we need to. Let's see. Yeah, so we edited Heth's program, but because Heth was at a step we were leaving there, Heth just kept working without interruption with the new program. I don't know what's up with Oppo now. There's something wrong with check and eat? Maybe I made a mistake. Oh, I didn't want combined. Crap, I screwed that up. I want you to eat it, not combine it. Go ahead and eat it. Oops, I screwed up. Eat. What the heck is going on? Oh, I see what's going on. I've dropped a couple of eats over here. Thank you. And find and pick and eat. Find and pick. What is going on with that? That is weird. There's a weird thing going on there. There's a couple of bugs, but it's early access and it's in development, so that makes some sense. So Heh or Oppo, whoever we're talking about, might be a little stuck. We may just need to reset them. But they might not be the only one stuck. Zox is stuck. Reset you. And also Oppo is stuck too. So reset you and go. Alright, go again. There you go. I think they're all better now. I think. I'll just make a quick fire with this one. Just to make it all happy again. Okay, so I think now Heth the Goofy, after they deliver this fire, hopefully we have enough juice left to do so, we'll go and eat correctly now 3 times. And it didn't quite get all the way up high enough, but it's because he was very, very low. They will automatically check a little bit sooner than that, now that the code is right, and they will get up to probably a green level with that eat task. And the other cool thing about this particular, by doing these in functions, is that later, when we get batteries, as they hinted at later, we can replace these steps with finding and picking a battery and eating a battery, and we don't have to edit this on every single robot, Craftomate. So that's one of the great things about this. But we're also out of time, so we need to end here. In the next episode, we will take a look at some of the next components, which is creating glass. For this, we need to create sand first, which was a task that got cleared when I did the function thing, but we will do that next. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all then. Bye for now.